Now that we have consumer and producer and total surpluses defined as a alternative mechanism for measuring any inefficiencies in a market, now we're going to actually apply those concepts. And so what we need, mechanisms that create inefficiencies in a market. And the reason why we need mechanisms that create inefficiencies is because the market itself on its own would choose not to be inefficient. It would be fully efficient. In other words, equilibrium price and quantity would be established if the market is left to itself. What does this mean? Well, the primary mechanism that would cause distortions in an otherwise efficient market, of course, would have to be government. Okay, and one of the things government uses in an attempt to help consumers, okay, that's their argument, is something called a price ceiling. Okay, something called a price ceiling. And a price ceiling is simply a price above which no one is allowed to charge. Okay, simply a price above which no one is allowed to charge. So let me give you the philosophy behind this. If the government thinks that there may be some price gouging going on, or simply a product is too expensive, TOO is simply too expensive, they will have an incentive to impose a price ceiling on that market to keep the price of the product low. Okay, now let's impose a price ceiling on a market. Okay, so we've got supply and demand, and naturally the market would want to equilibrate at P star, okay, and produce a quantity and trade a quantity Q star. Now, where would the price ceiling go? Given the definition of price ceiling that we just saw, where would a price ceiling need to be established in order for it to have the desired effect on the market? Okay, so let's give this market a name. Let's assume this is the market for gasoline. Okay, and the current price per gallon of gasoline is $5 a gallon. Well, the government thinks that's too high. Okay, that if the market is allowed to equilibrate, $5 a gallon of gasoline is simply not affordable to the general public. So the government wants to inject a price ceiling onto this market. Okay, now they set the price ceiling at $6 a gallon. According to the definition of a price ceiling, firms can charge prices below $6 a gallon, just not above $6 a gallon. So if the government injects a price ceiling of $6 a gallon, then the market price is going to be the prevailing price, because at $6 a gallon, a surplus would exist that's not efficient, and the market will want to lower the price to where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. So the government can put in a price ceiling above equilibrium price, but it's not going to have any effect on the market. In order for a price ceiling to have an effect, it would have to be installed below $5 a gallon, because again, the point is, at $5 a gallon, people can't afford it. So the government, let's say, imposes a price ceiling at $3.50 a gallon. Okay, now, in order to determine the impact that the total impact that this price ceiling has on the market, we must first find the quantity that is going to be traded on the market. Remember from previous discussions that under equilibrium, the quantity that will be traded is equilibrium quantity, Q star. In this case, however, because the price is so low, according to the law of supply, firms are only going to be willing to put QS units on the market. Okay, that is going to be the quantity traded of the product. Where that price ceiling hits the demand curve, that's going to be your quantity demanded. Now, we already know what this is. This is a shortage, okay? So this price ceiling has caused a shortage in this market simply because at that low of a price, gasoline refineries don't have an incentive to put as much gas in the market. They simply don't have an incentive to put that much product out there, okay? So we have a shortage of a product. Remember, a shortage means that people are going to line up to try to get that product at that low of a price. Okay. Now think about it. Think about what happens if we have a gasoline shortage. First, you have to find a gas station that even has gasoline. Secondly, you're going to have to wait in line at the pump. You know, it's hard to think about these days, but back in the 70s, we had a similar situation. Hard to think about that you drive around town and there's no gas. And when you do find a gas station with gas, you have to wait in line to get it. We're so used to just simply pulling up to a pump, filling up, and going away. And that's because of equilibrating prices. But under a price ceiling, we don't have that. We have a shortage of the product. So you drive around trying to find a gas station with gasoline. When you finally do, you have to wait in line for gasoline, okay? But if there's still gas left by the time you get up to the pump, you're only going to pay $3.50 a gallon. Well, that's a good thing. But there's an opportunity cost to having to deal with that shortage. And what is the opportunity cost to having to deal with that shortage? It is measured by the distance from the price ceiling price to the demand curve, or equivalently the marginal benefit curve. Okay, so the opportunity cost of dealing with the shortage is measured as this distance here. Okay, you pull up to the pump, you pay this much, but you've driven around, you've waited in line, etc., and that is worth that much to you. How do I know it's worth that much to you? Think of it this way. Assume that you're waiting in line for a product and there's some guy with a tanker truck of gas out behind a shopping center and he comes up and you're just sitting there waiting in line at the gas station. He knocks on your window and he goes, hey man, I've got a tanker truck full of gas out behind that shopping center out there. And I can meet you here whenever you need gas, you know, and I've got plenty of gas for you. And well, the first words out of your mouth is going to be, well, how much are you going to charge me? Well, the words out of his mouth is going to be, well, how much are you willing to pay? Well, what are you willing to pay for a good? Remember previous discussions? You're willing to pay your marginal benefit. Okay. Now, this gives us some interesting insight here, because if this guy, if everyone who's in line goes to this guy to buy gas, and if we assume this guy paid the price ceiling price for his gas, so he paid $3.50 per gallon, and he has tanker trucks full of QT units, okay, then what is he going to do? He's going to turn around and sell them at everyone's marginal benefit. And we call that the full economic price, and that could be $7 a gallon. Okay? What is this box equivalent to then? Well, this is that guy's black market premium. Okay? That is his black market premium. That is the profit he makes. That is the profit he makes off selling the gasoline. He buys it at $3.50. He buys QT units worth. Everyone goes to him now to get gas because now they don't have to wait in line. Guess what? He sells it for $7 a gallon, and the rest is all profit. Now, what's interesting is that not everybody is going to go to the black market, okay, to get their gas. Some people are going to choose to wait in line. And as people leave the line to go to the black market, then of course you move up in line, okay? So the line that you're waiting in at the gas station becomes shorter. So some people are going to stay in line, prefer to do that rather than going to the black market. So this box not only represents the black market premium, but it represents the total opportunity cost of dealing with a shortage of gasoline. Okay? So it's a mixture of the two. Okay, now how does this play into market efficiency? Okay, so the government comes in, thinks that $5 a gallon of gasoline is too high of a price, and people can't afford it. They impose a price ceiling of $3.50 a gallon. This causes a shortage. This causes the rise of a black market. Okay. Is this efficient or not? Well, no. Take our boundedness conditions for consumer and producer surplus. What are we left with? Well, remember, producer surplus is bounded below by marginal cost, which is equivalent to supply, okay? Bounded below by the supply curve. Bounded above by the effective price the producer gets, which is the price ceiling price. Bounded on the right by the quantity traded. Okay, consumer surplus, on the other hand, was bounded above by the marginal benefit of the product or demand. Okay, bounded below by the effective price the consumer has to pay. Whether they wait in line or go to the black market, their effective price is going to be their marginal benefit at the quantity traded, which in this case, I've made up this number, of course, but this is $7 a gallon. Okay, so that's the effective price the consumer pays, okay? And it's bounded on the right by the quantity traded. So that is consumer surplus. That's consumer surplus. That's producer surplus. We can already see that the sum of consumer and producer surpluses are far smaller than it would have been had the price ceiling never been installed. Had it never been installed, of course, and the market was allowed to equilibrate at $5 a gallon, there would have been no shortage of the product. There would have been no opportunity cost of waiting in line. There would have been no black market pop-up, and total surplus would have been that entire triangle. Okay? But we don't have that. So total surplus is not maximized. In other words, the price ceiling is inefficient. Okay? Not only do you have the opportunity cost of dealing with a shortage, combined, of course, mixed with the black market premium, but you also have this triangle here. And what is that triangle? That triangle is called a dead weight loss. Okay, a dead weight loss. Okay, now what is a dead weight loss? How would we explain that? Well, think about it. If gas stations are only staying open half the number of hours that they usually do, they don't need as many employees. Furthermore, people buying gas in the black market is probably watered down gas, probably not good gas. In other words, all the negative externalities that go with reduced employment in the gasoline and oil sectors, along with cars not operating properly because they're using bad black market gas, all of that is in that dead weight loss. A dead weight loss is simply some amount of total surplus that's gone. It's lost. It's society's happiness that is simply vanished. Okay?